I'm going to give a quick review of Proud Mary, okay? And I'm going to say what I said opening my review, my written review, which you can read at stevenmovieman.proboards.com. You ready for this? The movie's as bland as gas station coffee, and it's about as generic as bag cereal. That's pretty much what we're dealing with right here. This Proud Mary is a cut-and-paste action movie that makes you recall the Halle Berry film from August, Kidnap. It makes you think of that movie as something that was original. But you look at something like this, and Taraji P. Henson, who's really at 47 years old, she's had a good career. A lot of people might think she hasn't done a lot, but I mean, from Hidden Figures to Baby Boy to Empire, she's had a great career. But she's still, what really is sad is that she still has to do this kind of bargain bin, shoot-'em-up action movie in hopes that she can get another big break a la Hidden Figures. In the meantime, and I'll just say this with the commuter coming out this weekend, I'm going to throw this out there. In the meantime, how many performances has Liam Neeson phoned in, yet he still gets offers left and right? That's you look at something like this, you look at the parallels, and that's enough to anger you. But I'm not going to let Proud Mary get me too angry over here, okay? I'm really not. I'm really trying over here. This thing was marketed as a blaxploitation revival. If you don't know, like, blaxploitation, like the Days of Blackula and Melvin Van Peebles, some really good throwback horror films and whatnot. So yeah, absolutely. Joe, chime in on this. Chime in on this.
The film I brought up was Jackie Brown, something that Quentin Tarantino basically made. It's a throwback to the blaxploitation films. Another one, if you want it, very recently, even though it's a television series, Marvel's Luke Cage, another throwback to the blaxploitation, did a great job with that.
It's making a comeback.
It is.
It is.
It's finding its footing again. It's finding its cultural relevance again. You got the what's it called? It was a blaxploitation. Now it's an animated series on Adult Swim. I forgot what it's called.
I kind of know what I kind of know. There's so many Adult Swim programs, though.
But it was a blaxploitation film series that's now an animated series on Adult Swim. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but yeah, blaxploitation is making a big revival. I think it is something. But this Proud Mary was marketed as blaxploitation, okay, as a blaxploitation revival, but it ultimately winds up not even being comparable to the B-roll of something like Atomic Blonde. The film is 85 minutes. It's not very long, okay? It's only 85 minutes. And it's also, its brevity makes you question how much backstory was cut from this. The movie feels like almost a good chunk of its first act is missing. That's how trimmed down this movie is. But I'm happy that it didn't waste more than about 85 minutes of my Sunday. But at the same time, if the movie had been closer to 2 hours and had been at least a little tiny bit better, I think it would have been something. The movie stars Taraji P. Henson as a woman named Mary, as you could probably tell. She's a hit woman working for a crime ring in Boston, and she winds up finding this young boy named Danny, who's kind of this young kid, about maybe 11 years old. Young kid's grown up in a life of crime, kind of being a gun and a drug runner and a money collector from a lot of different gangs and whatnot. He's played by Jai Diallo Winston. He winds up being found by Mary in an alley, kind of like passed out sleeping. So Mary takes him home, makes him breakfast, and so the two kind of strike up this relationship while Mary's trying to protect him. In addition, she's also trying to break free of the crime ring run by her ex-boyfriend, played by Billy Brown, and his father, played by Danny Glover, who gives a really good performance in the movie until his scene with Danny late in the movie, where he looks like he's reading cue cards in a tone of voice that sounds like he's trying to grapple with just how bad some of this dialogue sounds. And that's pretty much what I can say with this movie. And you want me to talk about the motivations of the villains in this movie, her ex-boyfriend and his father? It's one of those movies, one of those action movies that's so unclear and generic that it almost tries to make you fill in the gaps. All you know is that these bad guys make a lot of money, they run guns, they probably have drug rings and everything like that too, given the tone of this movie as well. But you really don't get much of that. You don't really get much explanation. And I hate to say it here, but Taraji P. Henson's mediocre. She's never given much to do. Her character's faceless. There's no emotional pull to her whatsoever. She's got even less personality outside of what she consistently brings to the table, which is really sad in a lot of ways. How are you going to have Taraji P. Henson in an action movie and then mute her? That's what I don't understand. You could have put anybody in this role as it currently stands, whether it be Charlize Theron, whether it be Sandra Bullock, whether it be pretty much any actress or actor even, male or female. There's nothing that stands out about Taraji P. Henson here because there's nothing written for her. There's no character arc. There's no emotional story. That's why I'm saying, too, I think this movie was written to be a lot longer than what it currently is. I think it was not conceived to be this short and this slight. But the other thing, too, is that nobody stands out here, not even Danny Glover. Nobody stands out. There's no aesthetics that are really noteworthy here. I think it's like a distillation of the distillation of action thrillers. It's like boiled water twice over and then strained to be boiled again. That's kind of what this is. You could call this the essence of an action movie, but even the essence of something should give you an idea of why people enjoy it or would look to praise it. Proud Mary in that realm is really joyless, in my opinion. Now, I'm just going to end by saying this, because I've seen some modest praise for this movie, okay? And I'm just going to say this to the people that are giving this like 3 out of 5 stars, or they're saying it's not as bad as everybody's saying. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid you. And this is why I say this, okay? There's undoubtedly going to be people, and there are, trying to defend Proud Mary on the basis that it is a female-centered action film. Nonetheless, it stars a woman of color. And the genre of women kicking ass, so to speak, is in low supply. I couldn't agree more. But just like with some of the weaker elements present in Wonder Woman, to look past these flaws is to put us in the films we watch at a significant disservice. Proud Mary shouldn't be forgiven because the genre is faltering or at this point very slim. It should be criticized because Taraji P. Henson deserves much better than this. Instead of an action movie, period, let's give her a drama. Let's give her something. That's why you laugh at me for putting a lot of stock in Tyler Perry's upcoming movie Acrimony. I have hopes for it. I think it's got a chance to be good. I think it's got a chance to be good for him. I think it's got a really good chance to be good for Henson. There's plenty of these mediocre, star-driven action vehicles hogging space in red box machines worldwide. You don't need to go to the theater to experience the same disappointment we at least didn't have to put pants on to see. I give Proud Mary a D. I think it's mediocre. I don't think it's awful. I don't think it's bad. It's not astoundingly bad. But it's definitely not anything that's worth seeing. And it's absolutely not anything, in my opinion, worth defending, even on the basis that we don't get movies like this often.